Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the GeoFutures live cast. Today, we'll be hearing from a variety of leaders in St. Louis who will introduce a regional plan to become the global hub of the geospatial technology. Before the cast begins, we have a few housekeeping notes and troubleshooting tips. Make sure to confirm that your volume is turned up on your device, found at the bottom right of your video player window. If the video freezes on your page, click the refresh button. If that doesn't work, close down other applications on your computer or ask people at your location if they can kindly discontinue their Wi-Fi use to increase the quality of your stream. We'll reserve time at the end of this live cast for a Q&A session with our presenters. The chat box is located on the GeoFutures landing page just below the live stream video. To access the chat box, you must exit the full screen viewing mode by hitting the escape key. We'll now start the live segment of this cast. To start us off, I'd like to introduce your first presenter, Jason Hall, the CEO and co-founder of Arch to Park.
And welcome to this very special webcast to share GeoFutures, a vision for how to strengthen St. Louis over the next decade as the global center of the rapidly growing geospatial industry. My name is Jason Hall, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Arch to Park and a member of the GeoFutures Advisory Committee. Around 9 months ago, economic development leaders from the St. Louis region, including myself, formed GeoFutures. The charge of GeoFutures was to develop a coordinated and strategic approach and to think long-term about how we work together as one community to be a global leader in this fast-growing innovation sector. This industry has the power to change the world around us for the better and create more career opportunities in St. Louis for current residents and the many young people who come here every year to launch their careers. The work to build this vision, though, it didn't begin in October of last year. It is built upon decades of innovation excellence, investment, and expertise. But it did take on greater energy when the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency made a bold decision in 2016 when it committed itself to building a nearly $2 billion new headquarters just north of downtown St. Louis. Thank you to the NGA community for your confidence in St. Louis and your continued investment in our community. Community leaders like Dr. Patty Hagan, Dr. Tara Mott, Justin Bennett, Zakita Armstrong, Otis Williams, Jemez Watson, Fred Pistello, and many others put in tremendous work to mobilize our community over the past few years to focus and invest in the future of geospatial in St. Louis. We all see a vision where St. Louis is at the center of people, companies, and institutions coming together to innovate around location-based technology. Similar to the Industrial Revolution of the past, our society continues to undergo a digital transformation in today's era, and data fuels it. And in today's era, data associated with location adds an exciting new element that is improving our daily lives. Just think about it for a moment. Over the past 2 decades alone, we've come to rely on locational or geospatial data to check for traffic disruptions, check the weather before we go out for the day, choosing our driving routes to get from point A to point B, tracking the delivery of a package to our home or office, or record our exercise performance, often from a smartphone or a wearable device. Looking ahead, geospatial data will accelerate an even more connected world, one where autonomous vehicles and autonomous aviation become the new norm. It will help us respond to some of the greatest challenges facing our planet, including climate change. The physical and digital worlds are converging, and geospatial data is at the epicenter of that convergence. But our vision is much larger. We believe that growth alone is not enough to shape the future of our community in St. Louis. We must act with intention to reduce barriers so that the benefits of this new industry are shared more broadly and drive social and racial equity, as you will hear further from my colleagues here today. For the many of you who are watching this broadcast from outside of St. Louis, I can tell you that the excitement around the geospatial industry in St. Louis is palpable. We invite you to be a part of it. The GeoFutures strategic roadmap lays out a clear vision for where the St. Louis community and the broader geospatial industry is going. We welcome your creativity, your talent, your energy, and your investment to make this vision a reality. St. Louis enters this new decade with a renewed sense of confidence, optimism, and growth for the future. For example, with unprecedented collaboration under the leadership of Dr. Alex Garza and our public officials, and with the assistance of our thriving geospatial sector, our region was a national leader in reducing the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and flattening the curve. The movement to be the undisputed global leader in geospatial technology is a big part of our renewed civic energy. We will do this. Now I'd like to introduce to you a fellow member of the GeoFutures Advisory Committee and the Executive Director of Invest STL, Dara Eskridge.
Today's rollout of the GeoFutures strategic plan is a critical step in our journey to becoming a global geospatial hub. But we know that real success means that everyone in our region has the opportunity to participate and benefit. As you will hear in a few minutes, this initiative centers racial equity by beginning with authentic community engagement as a key measure for our shared success. By doing so, we can be a model for our region and our country.
Over the course of today's presentation, you're going to hear from some of the key leaders in the geospatial community, as well as from leaders in academia, government, and business. You'll also hear the key components of the GeoFutures strategic roadmap, and as Dara just mentioned, about how geospatial can help us fulfill our promise to everyone in our community. And joining us now is somebody who embodies that. My friend, Dr. Dwayne Smith, currently serves as the outgoing interim president of Harris-Stowe State University, and he's taking on a new position as the CEO of Housatonic Community College located in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Dr. Smith has served as a member of the GeoFutures Advisory Committee. Dr. Smith shared his personal story with me over breakfast one morning about the impact of this industry on his life shortly after he joined GeoFutures. And he wants to share that story with you. Dr. Smith?
Thank you, Jason, for your kind words, and thank you for the GeoFutures initiative for not only including Harris-Stowe State University and our region's other academic institutions in the development of this strategic plan, but also for your focus on connecting this technology and this industry on critical issues important to the future of St. Louis. I stand before you as someone who has really had two main jobs in my entire life. I worked for 35 years in higher education and recently had the privilege of serving as the interim president of Harris-Stowe State University. I am excited that Dr. Corey Bradford is now the president of Harris-Stowe State University and will continue Harris-Stowe's commitment to the geospatial ecosystem. As Jason shared, I will be leaving the region to serve as the CEO of Housatonic Community College in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Though I am departing the Midwest for the New England area, I'm still committed to access and opportunity in higher education. But before I started working in higher education, I worked at what is now the NGA. The year was 1976, and as a high school sophomore growing up in impoverished on the west side of St. Louis, I took multiple buses across the city to my job at the Defense Mapping Agency Aerospace Center, or DMAC, in the photolithographic division at 2nd and Arsenal, and later the 8900 South Broadway facility. I worked my way up to become a data transcriber, eventually earning a white badge, which meant I had top security clearance. Through my employment at DMAC, I was able to buy my first car, a 1971 Ford LTD, and save money for college. I continued my employment with DMAC well into my college years. I share this because I want to stress how transformative that experience was for me, someone who grew up in poverty, worked, and was now NGA, is now helping shape the next chapter for the geospatial sector in St. Louis as a member of the GeoFutures Initiative Advisory Committee. Because I believe in the transformative power of geospatial intelligence and technology, transformative for the lives of individuals like it was for me, as well as for African American youth across the region. That's why Harris Stowe will play a significant role in training the next generation for jobs in the geospatial sector. We are working with the NGA to develop curriculum and other opportunities such as externships, internship, training opportunities, as well as collaborative opportunities with NGA personnel and Harris Stowe State University faculty. We are partnering with the U.S. Geospatial Intelligence Foundation on programs for certificates and four-year degrees. In addition to the programs we are developing for students at Harris Stowe State University, we are also exploring pre-K through 16 pipeline opportunities by joining forces with PK through 12 grade institutions to bring them along with us and work with them to get their students engaged earlier into the geospatial ecosystem. This is something Harris Stowe has positioned to do as an institution. That is why it is critical that institutions such as Harris Stowe be at the table as we work as a region to scale up the geospatial sector. Because along with other colleges and universities in our region, we want to train the next generation of leaders in geospatial. Dr. Corey Bradford Sr., the 20th president of Harris Stowe State University, is firmly committed to this vision and looks forward to working with the team. We want to see that the next generation of kids who, like me, can grow up in the shadows of NGA West Campus, come through Harris Stowe or another school and graduate to jobs at NGA or start the next great company that uses geospatial technology to help make St. Louis the global center of geospatial intelligence. Well, that's my story, and I want to be the type of story that every kid in St. Louis is be able to write for themselves in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Smith, for sharing your story and for your long commitment to your hometown in St. Louis and the plans for geospatial. St. Louis's loss is Housatonic's gain. We're going to miss you, but your leadership and work in St. Louis will never be forgotten. Before we get into the components of the GeoFutures strategic roadmap, we're going to hear from two leaders who are no strangers to either St. Louis or the geospatial industry, and each who have worked tirelessly to advance both. So let's hear from Mayor Lyda Krewson from the City of St. Louis and Vice Admiral Robert Sharp, the 7th Director of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to participate in this special event. I'm really honored to be here with you virtually. I only wish I could be there in person, and I'm looking forward to the time where I can get out there and see you again. The memories of groundbreaking for our new campus in North St. Louis, the excitement energy I saw in the faces of government, industry, and academic leaders, NGA employees, and St. Louis neighbors are still fresh and vivid in my mind. Even though it'll be 5 years before NGA begins operating from its new campus, it's clear to me that a new chapter for our agency and our St. Louis regional partners has already begun. NGA exists to show the way. We're both a combat support agency and an intelligence agency. We provide geospatial intelligence that sends U.S. military members on missions and brings them home safely, that assists first responders in saving lives, and that informs U.S. policymakers how to make the best decisions they can for our nation. We can't do that without our people and our partners, and that's never been truer than right here in St. Louis. So we'll need to hire people with the skills, the knowledge, the capabilities that we need for success in the future. Skills like critical thinking, analysis, data science, engineering, mathematics. We're also establishing strong partnerships with academia to recruit and educate people with STEM skills. And we're developing relationships with the commercial sector to bring new technologies and talent into our mission processes. We've found all that right here in the Gateway to the West, the launch point for the Lewis and Clark expedition, with industry, with universities and schools, and with wonderful neighborhoods. All these connections, past and present, are crucial to NGA's mission. They remind us of where we've come from, and they'll lead us forward. The time has come to take decisive and urgent action in order to recharge and refocus the GeoInt community. The GeoInt revolution is going to happen, whether or not we participate. As this launch shows, we intend to lead it. NGA's new campus in North St. Louis will be built to connect, a place where interdisciplinary professionals can develop innovative solutions to the most pressing geospatial problems. But if we wait, we lose. So we're building our connections now, in the neighborhoods, in the primary and secondary schools, in the colleges and universities throughout the St. Louis region, and in the innovation centers. At this historic inflection point for the GeoInt community, for NGA, in our nation, it's not only a time of great change and challenges, it's also a time for hope and opportunity. Last month, I issued what we call the Director's Intent. It's my expression of the conditions we need to accomplish our mission and reach our desired end state. It closes with the equivalent of a moonshot, the operational goal by which we'll organize, prioritize, and measure our overall success. Our moonshot is this: we will deliver trusted GeoInt with the precision required to hold at risk the strategic forces our adversaries use to project power and threaten the United States and our allies. Our moonshot was inspired by the spirit and energy that President Kennedy evoked about lunar exploration in the early 1960s. It's that bold calling that we want to arouse. With the possibilities and commitment I see here in St. Louis, I have no doubt that together we will show the way. So thank you. Thank you for what you're doing now, and thank you for what you're going to do in the future.
Thank you for being with us today for the launch of this groundbreaking roadmap from GeoFutures initiative. Although our geospatial sector here has been strong for some time, the decision by NGA to stay and build their next NGA West campus here energized our entire region and has helped lead us to this moment. Along with NGA, our region is speaking with one voice about the promise of geospatial technology to help us build the bright future we all see for our community. And that bright future is one in which every person and every neighborhood has the opportunity to thrive. That's why we're developing the city's first ever equitable economic development framework. The hallmark of our plan is connecting people, neighborhoods, and jobs so that we can eliminate inequity and disinvestment and instead build hope and celebrate the success of all of our people. The geospatial sector will play a significant role in this effort. Here in the city level, the GeoFutures strategic plan, the NGA, and our equitable economic development framework will work together to spur investment in the people and neighborhoods surrounding NGA so that they are connected to education, to jobs, and entrepreneurial opportunities that are created by our development of a regional geospatial ecosystem. At the regional level, geospatial technology will forge the connection between our research universities, colleges, companies, startups, investors, and innovation districts to create equitable and sustainable growth that attracts businesses and talent from across the country and around the world to St. Louis to connect with the technology and create the entrepreneurial advantage. And at the national and global level, we will attract to our region businesses, talent, and organizations focused on making cities and transportation systems smarter and safer, agricultural more sustainable, communities healthier, and societies more just and equitable. Geospatial will help us build those connections from our city to the rest of the region, across the country, and eventually around the globe. The work done by the GeoFutures initiative and the strategic roadmap that are launching today will set us on a course to solidify St. Louis as the global center for geospatial technology. I want to thank the GeoFutures initiative and all of the members of the advisory committee for your hard work, for your continued support for St. Louis, and for your commitment to ensuring that the future of geospatial is STL made. Thank you.
As Mayor Cruson just mentioned, the decision by the NGA to build its new West headquarters just north of downtown served as a broader catalyst in St. Louis for a greater ambition to own the geospatial industry. But even before that decision was announced in 2016, our region already had a strong foundation upon which to build. With vibrant innovation hubs, a thriving entrepreneurial and startup ecosystem, and established businesses and geospatial leaders, our geospatial sector in St. Louis today accounts for 27,000 jobs in our region and drives a nearly $5 billion economic impact. With that strong foundation and the next NGA West campus breaking ground, what we needed was to come together and work in a coordinated way to think long-term and lay out a roadmap for focusing our civic and private investments over the next decade to create an even more thriving geospatial innovation ecosystem that continues to attract the best minds and industry. This is why we made a choice to come together and shape a shared vision. That is GeoFutures. We saw this approach before in St. Louis with the plant and life sciences industry. Nearly 20 years ago today, under the leadership of Dr. Bill Danforth and others, St. Louis came together to craft the Battelle Report that shapes our community today. And just think about it. From that roadmap 20 years ago came ideas like Cortex, the rise of the Donald Danforth Plant Science Center, BioSTL, and many other key drivers of our regional economy today. That vision is what attracted young entrepreneurs like Matt Crisp, the CEO of fast-growing Benson Hill Biosystems, or companies like Bunge, a Fortune 200 headquarters that moved from New York City to St. Louis last year. And even the new Bill and Melinda Gates Global Agricultural Innovation Center, known as Gates Ag One, which chose St. Louis to be its global headquarters. As that history demonstrates, nothing of that scale, wins of that magnitude, are truly capable or possible without a coordinated plan, a shared vision that is bigger than all of us, any one person or institution. The GeoFutures initiative was inspired by that success and that work a generation ago. We set out to design a plan that builds upon our existing strengths and connects them to our greatest opportunities. To help explain these connections, we spoke to leaders representing key industries and academic and research institutions in the St. Louis region.
Since I've arrived at SLU 6 years ago, literally one of the most exciting things I've seen is how this community has rallied around the growth of the geospatial sector in this region. There are many promising things about St. Louis, and you see a number of things which are generating energy, generating jobs, attracting talented people to the region. I think that geospatial is among the very most promising.
At Enterprise Holdings, we are always looking for new innovations, especially like geospatial, because that geospatial work really helps us achieve our critical mission, which is to be the best mobility provider in the world. The connected car and the technology in the car is location technology, and that enhances our customer experience and our employee efficiency. So when our employee rents that car and then the vehicle is returned with the customer, we can see that that vehicle has been returned to our location and the process goes much smoother, and so it's a frictionless and elevated customer service experience.
As we're creating this bigger and better ecosystem through our geospatial technologies and companies, that innovation is critical to our future in St. Louis and really the United States and the world. And being able to connect small, innovative companies to large companies and customers like the Boeing Company, our military customers, and really the commercial industry is what's really going to be an accelerant in this ecosystem.
What our colleges and universities can best contribute to this sector is faculty, scholars, scientists, and students. So to attract top talent who can advance knowledge and partner with the NGA and with each other, but also to draw students, some of the best students in the country who will become the future experts in this region, future faculty, scientists, and employees in all the spin-off businesses that are going to evolve.
With St. Louis being already a recognized center of agricultural technology and of healthcare technology, as our geospatial strength emerges and becomes recognized, one can see unlimited opportunities for crossover between geospatial and ag tech, or geospatial and healthcare, where we can be the world leader in some of these new emerging specialties.
I'm Andy Deering, Project Lead for the GeoFutures Initiative. I'd like to take you through some of the highlights of the GeoFutures Strategic Roadmap. As you've heard and seen in the previous video, St. Louis is well positioned to become a global hub of geospatial activity in the next 5 years. For this near-term growth, we will target 4 industry sectors that are already thriving here in St. Louis and that are increasing their use of geospatial and location technology every day. Those sectors are national security, digital and precision agriculture, transportation and logistics, and healthcare delivery. These sectors are already driving growth in our regional economy, and by aligning with them, we can build connections that leverage our combined strength and create benefit for everyone. And with the strategic roadmap we have developed, our goal is that in 10 years, we will establish St. Louis as the global center of geospatial excellence and a leader in the new economy. To get there, we will focus on 5 strategic priorities. Scale up talent and workforce development to meet geospatial industry demand, raise innovation capacity, accelerate entrepreneurship and availability of risk capital, support the advancement of community-driven development in the neighborhoods where NGA is building its new campus, and brand and position St. Louis as a global thought leader in geospatial technology. The plan we have developed is bold and visionary, but also grounded in the strengths that have built the foundation for where we are today. It also has inclusion and equity embedded in its core. To help achieve these priorities, the plan calls for 3 signature initiatives and 3 collaborative program activities. The signature initiatives are the GeoFutures Coalition, which will serve as the lead initiative and umbrella organization for all geospatial activities. This coalition will oversee the implementation of the strategic roadmap and ensure a sustained commitment to racial equity and inclusive growth across all roadmap activities. The second is the GeoFutures Talent Initiative, which will support and deepen ongoing K-16 and adult workforce education efforts targeted to underrepresented communities. The last signature initiative is the GeoFutures Innovation Collaborative, which will promote entrepreneurship, research, development, and commercialization of geospatial applications. The collaborative program activities that will help support these signature initiatives are more targeted to address specific opportunities and gaps that need to be advanced with broader St. Louis community, including establishing a Black professional tech entrepreneurship program that cultivates relationships with Black professional IT associations and engineering professionals and leverages the presence of existing entrepreneurial development activities. A second program is an affiliated matching fund for geospatial venture investments, which would focus on helping St. Louis geospatial companies qualify for matching investments that can be used to leverage funding from other sources of capital, including sources from outside of St. Louis. And last, we will support community-driven development efforts in the neighborhoods where NGA is building its new West headquarters. This will be done in alignment with the city's forthcoming Equitable Economic Development Framework that Mayor Cruson mentioned earlier. As part of this plan to support community-driven neighborhood development near the NGA campus, we will promote the use of geospatial technology to develop smart city applications and to drive community wealth generating activities for neighborhood residents through education and job training, new opportunities for entrepreneurship, and home ownership. We see so much potential in our people, in our neighborhoods, and the promise of geospatial technology to help us achieve it. Before I turn things back to Dara, I would like to recognize Mitch Horowitz and Ryan Helwig from Techonomy Partners, who put the strategic roadmap together after conducting countless hours of research, interviews, and outreach. Their expertise provided us a world-class product, and I wanted to recognize their contributions to this effort. Now back to Dara.
Thanks, Andy. In addition to the GeoFutures Advisory Committee, I serve as the Executive Director of Invest STL, an initiative committed to the equitable, resident-driven development of our region's neighborhoods. Invest STL is driven by three simple beliefs. 1, neighborhoods matter to our quality of life. 2, the heart of every neighborhood, above the physical place in its buildings, is its people, their lived experiences, and their collective dreams. And 3rd, when we invest together in people and their ability to organize for and lead change, our region grows stronger and the opportunity for everyone to be successful becomes real. When I was asked to join this advisory committee, I saw the potential of the geospatial industry to support our mission of reinvesting in neighborhoods. From our viewpoint, without a strategic plan, this could easily become just about NGA building a new campus in North St. Louis. But because of the GeoFutures work, we have a plan that sets the trajectory of an entire industry from the very beginning on a path that advances, includes, and honors a community where this industry is taking root. It is a plan that begins to address the long-standing exclusion of Black neighborhoods from the region's success. This is our chance to show our region and the world the right way to mobilize and support existing community in directing and capitalizing on a multi-generational economic opportunity. At the end of the day, this isn't just about people in the neighborhoods getting jobs at NGA. The stakes are so much higher. This is about building wealth and power with, for, and in the neighborhoods that have long been excluded from St. Louis's growth and prosperity. And now, I'd like to introduce Otis Williams, the Executive Director of St. Louis Development Corporation.
Thank you, Dara. This has been a great day thus far. Over the past 5 years ago, when we put together the effort to keep the NGA in the St. Louis city, we knew that not only could we help the NGA meet its mission to help keep our country safe, but that in doing so, we could bring a development to our city that would catalyze an entire sector to the benefit of our entire region. Dara mentioned the commitment of GeoFutures to racial equity and community engagement. And in that same spirit, the city will soon roll out its equitable economic development framework, which will focus on bringing community-led development to disinvested communities. Geospatial is a significant component of our plan, and we are committed to working to ensure that we connect the needs and aspirations of the community with the plans to invest around NGA. Our plan will be all about connecting investments with jobs, people, and neighborhoods. And we see so much promise in the geospatial sector's ability to drive that connection. We see new geospatial-related educational programs in our schools and in our area colleges and universities. We see geospatial technology being used to help build our smart cities, that infrastructure, and to address some of our critical challenges, like health disparities, public safety, food security, and transportation. We see wealth building opportunities for the neighborhoods surrounding the NGA through community-driven development, entrepreneurship, and business development programs. And most importantly, we see a future where the city and the geospatial sector work together to ensure that all our people and neighborhoods have the opportunity to thrive and succeed.
We recognize this is a big and bold aspiration. We believe St. Louis has an extraordinary set of assets to work with. And now we have a plan and a commitment to collaboration to help us be the center for geospatial excellence while also becoming a model for equitable growth in our country.
As Dara said, this is a big and bold aspiration, but we build upon a strong foundation. We reject the old ways of thinking and siloed activity in favor of collaboration and shared vision. We recommit to the hard work of intention, listening, and action so that a rising tide can truly lift all boats. As we look toward the future, our first priority will be to get the GeoFutures Coalition up and running so that we secure the resources and coordinate the implementation of this roadmap. Everyone in St. Louis and every organization in this industry and in the St. Louis community needs to take a hard look at this report so that we can align our collective efforts and investments to achieve a level of success that none of us could achieve alone. On behalf of the GeoFutures Advisory Committee, I invite you to join us in this effort. Let me share one additional piece of good news for St. Louis that is hot off the presses this morning as well. Right now, simultaneous with this GeoFutures webcast, Accenture, a globally recognized technology firm, is announcing that it has selected the St. Louis region for a major investment in an advanced technology center that will bring 1,400 new high-paying jobs to St. Louis. I was involved early on with my colleague Steve Johnson, who is the CEO of Alliance STL and also a member of the GeoFutures Advisory Committee, to help tell the St. Louis story and to help attract this investment. Our commitment to being a growth region, a more equitable region, and the hub of geospatial technology was a key component of our story. Before we conclude and take questions from the audience members that are watching online, I'd also like to thank two very special people, and that is the former directors of the NGA, Tish Long and Robert Cardillo. What an extraordinary initiative that not only attracted one former director to come help provide strategic advice, but two. Tish and Robert both helped shape this plan as special advisors to GeoFutures, and their knowledge of the geospatial industry, where it has been and where it is going, was critical to the development of this roadmap and where we are today. Both of them are friends, and I can't thank them enough for a lifetime of commitment to the St. Louis community and their commitment to the geospatial industry. And also, none of this would have been possible without the hard work, the tough conversations, and the critical ideas of the GeoFutures Advisory Committee, whose names you see on the screen now, and their knowledge and insights were critical to guiding us to where we are today. The advisory committee is comprised of some of the brightest minds in the geospatial industry, as well as the economic development, entrepreneurial, civic, academic, and community development sectors. This represents the best of what our region can do when we pull together in the same direction. We've only scratched the surface of the GeoFutures strategic roadmap today and our plan for the future of geospatial technology in St. Louis. And we invite you to check out the full report on the website stlgeofutures.com.
Thank you, Jason. And now we'll move to the question and answer period of the cast. A few quick reminders. The chat box is located in the GeoFutures landing page just below this live stream video. To access the chat box, you must exit the full screen viewing mode by hitting the escape key. If we're unable to answer your question today during the live cast, the GeoFutures team will follow up via the email that you provided. Now, I'll send it back to Jason with the first question.
Our first question. As you were researching this report, what other cities or regions did you look at as competitors against which to gauge where St. Louis is and where it can go? That's probably a good question for Andy Daring.
Thanks, Jason. So that is a good question. As part of the report development, we assessed St. Louis against 5 unique cities. Those cities were Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, Silicon Valley, the Tech Bay Area, Denver, and Philadelphia. Each one of those cities offered up unique services, research and development, tech hubs, entrepreneurialism, and access to R&D or venture capital funding. And as we looked at this as in the development of the report, we also assessed what St. Louis's strengths were in relation to those different cities. So what we have here in St. Louis and what became overwhelmingly obvious during the report generation was around the assets that we have here in a deep, deep-rooted talent around geospatial workforce. And that's something that we're going to leverage and accelerate as we form and push forward the GeoFutures Coalition. Thanks.
All right, our next question. 10 years might seem like a long time, but in actuality, establishing St. Louis as a global center for geospatial excellence in just a decade will require a tremendous amount of work and collaboration across many different institutions. What are the region's colleges and universities doing to train future workers for the next decade? And I think that's probably a good question for Dr. Smith.
Sure, Jason. Thank you for the question. So as I attempt to answer the question, I'm really reflecting on what was said by Dara moments ago about the critical nature of what we're doing in geospatial ecosystem in St. Louis, and it's critical for this major move to be inclusive of neighborhoods and communities that in the past have been left out in the movement of progress in St. Louis. And so I think about it's taken 10 years to get to this spot, but it's also going to take 10 years or even more to develop a diverse pool of employees for NGA and for geospatial. And so what institutions are doing, higher education institutions are doing, is really looking at the curriculum and seeing how the curriculum aligns with what is needed for employment. So I cite, for example, with Harris Stowe State University, we are developing an educational partnership agreement with NGA that looks at PK through 16 alignment. So that means that we will start very early on to train the next cadre of leaders. There are research opportunities that are taking place with other institutions. And so the goal really is to look at it long term, developing the employment opportunities for individuals. But also, there are other organizations, Gateway GIS, under the leadership of Dr. Roz Norman, who are doing some incredible work with elementary age school students and GeoPlunge. And so these type of partnerships will make truly a difference in developing the next cadre of individuals that we need to move geospatial intelligence forward in St. Louis and the region beyond. Thank you.
And Dr. Smith, before you get too far, we have a related education question that's come in from the audience. Do you see GeoFutures supporting cross-school or cross-discipline capstones?
Sure. When you think about geospatial intelligence, it is STEM-related, but there's really different types of disciplines that's involved in making it happen. And so I know that in my work over the last few months, we've looked at various disciplines, not only in the STEM realm, but also in the business realm, cybersecurity, social sciences. And so definitely geospatial intelligence is really poised to look at a cross-disciplinary approach to advance the areas in geospatial. So I think that, may I have answered the question? Okay, thank you.
Our next question from the audience, you've clearly stated that racial equity is a critical focus of the GeoFutures roadmap. How will you measure success? I think, Dara?
Yeah, so, racial equity being a cornerstone of this initiative, the way that we're going to measure success are really in two key ways. As this industry is essentially growing up in the context of an existing neighborhood, in addition to the jobs that will be available at NGA, there's going to be an entire array of businesses that have to grow up around it. We have to make sure that Black residents and brown residents in that neighborhood are not just employees in those jobs and those amenities, but they are the owners, that they are the ones owning those businesses and building their wealth by way of it. The other way is through power. Right now, our region is very much used to industry and a few kind of directing what happens in place. If we do this right, we will see that the power will rest with the people within those neighborhoods, that people will understand the front door to these neighborhoods is not industry, but instead the collective power of the people there.
Thank you very much, Dara. The next question that's come in, you've referred to the NGA West headquarters as a, quote, catalyst for growth in the geospatial sector in St. Louis. Other than employment at NGA itself, what other opportunities related to NGA do you see for the geospatial sector? So I think that's probably a good question for the one who led the retention of the NGA and the new headquarters, Otis Williams.
Thank you. Obviously, we are very proud to retain the jobs at the NGA, but we see all those supporting organizations and businesses that are working with the NGA to further their mission. It is also those businesses that we're seeking out, and we're inviting you all to, if you have a support mission with the NGA and that you are one of those that work with the NGA, that this is a perfect opportunity to locate near in St. Louis to support that mission. I've heard so many anecdotes in the past where people will fly in, get off the plane, go and visit the NGA, and then get back on the plane at the end of the day. But they're missing opportunities, and I think that in our new vision, and I believe I've heard Admiral Sharp and previously the previous director, Robert Codillo, talk about movement toward a new vision for supporting the NGA. This is a perfect opportunity for jobs to locate here. So we have experienced the growth that's happening in areas. Some companies are already putting a footprint here, working with our small business areas, and so we invite you to participate as well.
The next question that came in, can you address any partnerships with the Illinois side of the St. Louis metropolitan area? I might take that for myself as a native of the Metro East and Granite City. There are a lot of partnerships and key leaders, including the Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville, which was a critical leader in higher education at the convergence of geography and computer science, and a real innovator in higher education, has been critical. And we very much appreciate the leadership of Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville in this effort and in our broader region. Of course, organizations like Arch Grants as well, which have stood up a specialized program to help attract geospatial entrepreneurs and innovators to the region, are actively engaged in discussions even more broadly on the Illinois side of the region with the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, a leading higher education institution in computer science and other technology disciplines. So I would mention those. The next question, making St. Louis the global hub for geospatial will require attracting new businesses to St. Louis and creating new startups in the region. If a business is looking to locate in St. Louis, or if an entrepreneur is looking to launch a startup, who can they talk to? So I think I'll ask the project lead, Andy Deering, on that question.
Thanks, Jason. There's a couple of different answers to that one. I think first off, Alliance STL from a business recruitment arm, and as you'll see the materials from this conference and lots of other materials available for individuals are going to be posted on their website, and them being the front door into our region. Likewise, the GeoFutures Coalition and what we've explained earlier is there's a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs. There will be many more opportunities for those as part of the GeoFutures Coalition and the other signature initiatives. As being an entrepreneur here myself and having access to early stage capital or even later stage capital, we're starting to see, as Jason mentioned earlier, Arch Grants. We're starting to see acceleration funds that are already starting to percolate around this area that are honed in on what's going on in the geospatial sector. So there's going to be lots of resources available if you're an entrepreneur or if you're somebody in school that has a great idea that might be a location-based technology. And St. Louis is where you can grow your business and become that next large organization. Thanks, Jason.
All right, in time for one final question. The question was, what support are you looking for from the general community, and how can people otherwise become involved to help? I'll answer that question. I think going back to STLGeofutures.com, which is to take a hard look at that report and see where you believe you can make a contribution to it. It's going to take this entire region to reach our full potential. And the report lays out a shared framework, a shared vision, so that we can align our efforts. It also includes contact information for Andy Deering, who is the project lead on the GeoFutures initiative. So I encourage you to reach out with him, to him with your ideas, new opportunities that this inspires. But we need all people to be involved. And tell this story. When you're talking to your family, your neighbors, talk about St. Louis as a thriving hub of geospatial technology. I encourage you to share with those same audiences the need that we must confront inequities in St. Louis and do something about them and mobilize to action and be courageous in those conversations. I think those are some great starting points for becoming more engaged in this effort and in this ambition to grow and make our region more prosperous and more equitable. I thank you all for the very terrific questions that have been raised online. We hope you were inspired by what you heard today and you see opportunities, as this last question raised, to be a part of this excitement. It's fun, it's exciting, and St. Louis is at the forefront. Thank you most importantly for being here today, to learn more and to be a part of it. Now I'm going to let April close out with a few important reminders.
Thanks, Jason. I want to remind everyone that you can download the full strategic roadmap report at stlgeofutures.com. That's stlgeofutures.com. You'll also be receiving a follow-up email with a shareable link to view the recording of this webinar. Thank you again for your participation today. I'm April Strellinger. Stay safe, stay well, and please do take care.